Hey, what's up you guys, it's Dorothy and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to go into chapter 30 of the game by Lindsay Miller, so I hope that you guys are ready for this video. This video may contain sensitive topics and foul language. If you do not wish to continue, I suggest you click off the video now. You have been warned. Chapter 30. They won't believe me, Leah said. Why? Devin asked after they left Miss Christie's room. Why? Any of it. Maybe the scholarship idea was right. Maybe she hated us all these years. Maybe she just likes killing. Leah walked through the hallway, her mind racing. Does it matter? You're definitely next, and George is in danger. And the cops thought we were just playing assassins the other night. He paused outside of his third class of the day. Great, perfect. They definitely won't believe me if they didn't the first time. We have to stop her, Leah said. She won't wait long enough for them to figure out who she is. It's such a bad plan, Jim said. Of course she would get caught. Maybe the scholarship is her excuse, said Devin. Maybe that's how she justified it. She's the most competitive person I know, and I know Leah. Leah couldn't even bring herself to laugh. Then why the alphabetical order, she asked. Why the pattern? Jim shrugged. Who knows? Leah shook her head. She's overplanning it. The bridge, Ben's allergy, stalking Cassidy, the stairwell. It's like she joined assassins with the step-by-step plan to win before finding out the rules and her target. There was much easier ways to kill you. Comforting, Devin said. I assume that means you think you can stop her? Leah nodded. We need to outplan the overplanner. We need to set up a trap for her. Leah took Devin's hand, scared she would turn a corner later and find him dead. So long as he didn't leave her sight, it would be fine, but he had to leave her sight. We can lure her out after school as long as she thinks you're alone. She plans for days, Jim mined, writing in her journal. She has color-coded bullet journals for each semester, makes lists upon lists of everything she needs to do, and uses stickers to mark her progress. But she never quite gets it all done. She spends all of her time planning and then goes off script. How do you trap that? Even with Ben, she clearly planned, it was a mess, Leah said, and with Cassidy, she used what she had on hand. She didn't bring anything. If we get her into an empty room, she'll probably just try to strangle you, Jim said. You can probably take her. No, thank you, Devin said. I prefer a bit more than probably on my side, especially since she's been doing CrossFit. She had overpowered the others. They couldn't risk that happening again. Leah let go of Devin and turned to Jim. You should get that prop knife. Your fourth block is drama, right? Jim nodded. A junior glared at them and shoved past Devin into class, and he squeezed Leah's hand. We have 2 minutes until bell, he said, holding up his phone. We can't clear a room of everything deadly before the end of school, when her list of weapons includes a table. No, we give her several weapons that are too good for her to pass up, but we make sure they can't actually hurt us, Leah whispered quickly. Faith doesn't just think she's smarter than everyone, but that she deserves everything. The world revolves around her. She wouldn't even question a knife if we make sure it fits in with the surroundings at least a little. She's too self-centered to think it's out of place. If it's for her, go, Devin gave her a gentle shove. Text me your plan. She's in my fourth block class. You have until then. Jim and Leah split up for third block, and Leah sat in the back of her communications class, her old flip phone barely keeping up with her typing. At least the school Wi-Fi was fast. Devin protested. He didn't want to die or get them hurt, but they all knew that if they even broached the topic of Faith Franklin being the killer, that no one would believe them until evidence proved it. If Leah was right, and she was fairly sure she was, then Faith was getting desperate. If this was a terrible plan to get the governor's scholarship, her deadline to be offered one was fast approaching, and Leah could almost understand that. Tuition, room and board, and school fees paid in full for 4 years. It was a dream many joked was worth killing for. Leah texted Jim and Devin. If we're wrong and she's innocent, we'll all be fine. If we're right, this will keep you safe and prove it's her. Please trust me. No one ever believed Leah. No one ever had faith in her. No one ever trusted her. But if she helped catch the killer and cleared her name, maybe the only gossip about her wouldn't be assorted rumors about murder and obsession with assassins. Devin said, I do, and I should be the bait. If you're right, I'm next, and if it's Faith, I was one of her targets all along. She'll risk it to kill me. She already risked it the other night. The stairwell in Cassidy was way less organized. Excuse me. Leah stared at Devin's words, her chest tight and eyes burning. You'll be in danger. Not if your plan works. I trust you. I'm tired of waking up only to find another friend dead. If no one else will face this head on, we have to. Jim texted. What do we do? They decided that Devin would let it slip that he was going to be chilling in the drama room behind the stage before orchestra. They'd place a prop knife near the door so that Faith would see it. The one from Wait Until Dark would be perfect. Leah knew Faith kept Mason on her keychain. Jim, can you get rid of that? Jim's response was slow. Maybe it's hard to rip something off of a keychain. Jim decided to try and get the mace between 3rd and 4th block while Leah distracted her. Leah would somehow distract Faith and let her know Devin would be alone and stop her before she could walk into 4th block. Leah sprinted from the class once it was over. Students whispered and darted out of her way. Before Abby's death, Leah had been known in the way of laws of thermodynamics, where some students at Lincoln High knew of her and remembered her first name, but only a few knew her. Now everyone knew her. She didn't like it. Jim passed her near the corner by Faith's 4th block. Devin got there first, and Leah wrapped her fingers around his wrist, holding him back in the hallway. This isn't the plan, he asked softly. Leah leaned in close. I need her to see us talking. A carrot at the end of the stick wasn't enticing if the carrot wasn't supposed to be there in the first place. Traps needed context. Oh, okay, Devin said. Think Jim can pull this off? Yeah. Leah caught sight of Faith turning the far corner just behind Devin and smiled. Slump your shoulders, look tired, be careful, she whispered and patted his shoulder. He reached up to squeeze her hand. Go inside and then meet me in the drama room the moment you can. It was the only place to which they had access that would make sure they were found. After 20 minutes, students would start wandering to the auditorium for rehearsal, and Leah's mom would be looking for her from the pickup line. Faith cut through the crowd toward the door next to Leah. Jim followed. Faith's keychain swung from her backpack zipper with each step, and Leah looked up. She let her mouth fall open slightly and waved Faith to stop. Faith stopped next to her. Leah, she said, her eyes flittering over her. How are you? You know, Leah shrugged and pretended it was hard to even force a smile. I actually have a favor to ask you, but don't feel weird if you want to say no. Faith cocked her head to the side, her long brown hair swinging forward in a sheet, and suddenly all Leah could see was the barrel of Ben's water gun. Leah realized her hands were clenched. She loosened them. Do you think I could borrow your copies of your sister's notes? Leah asked, biting her nail. Class has just been so hard recently. I feel like an idiot. I didn't even think about asking for Mark's notes. Even if she had, she was sure he wouldn't have handed them over. Faith sighed, a slight smile on her lips. Of course, we can meet after school today if you want. Thank you so much. Leah threw her arms around Faith and hugged her tight for 2 seconds and watched Jim finish unhooking the mace canister from Faith's keychain. Leah squeezed Faith once more before letting go. Really, that makes everything seem way less terrifying. Jim pocketed the mace and blended seamlessly into the crowded hallway. No problem, Faith said. So today, I can't. I'm staying for orchestra rehearsal with Devin. He usually decompresses backstage before everyone arrives, and I'm going to run and get some food before rehearsal starts. Leah shrugged and bit her lip. Maybe tomorrow I can meet you somewhere? Faith smiled too broadly than anyone would on a day overshadowed by 3 deaths and nodded. Tomorrow, I message you. Sure, Leah said. Thanks again. Leah made it to class with 30 seconds to spare. Everything felt so normal. Her teacher went over a new chapter. Her classmates looked over their homework they needed to do while school was canceled with bored expressions, and less studious kids played on their phones until desks and under desk and behind books. Leah messaged Devin to tell him what she had said, and he promised to try and mention it offhandedly if he thought he could. Leah was already halfway out the door when the bell rang. She raced to the auditorium. Jim was already there. Prop knife, Jim said, holding it up, deceptively sharp switchblade. Even has room for a squib at the end of the hilt. I'll keep her distracted for a minute so you have a chance to clear out anything else. I grabbed all the pens, pencils, and scissors. The tools are locked up, thankfully. Leah swallowed and shuddering at the image of Devin beneath the blades of a circular saw. Leah went over every inch of the room she could see and moved heavy, slammable objects to the far side of the room behind the teacher's desk. By the time Devin arrived, her hands were shaking. He dropped his bag in a desk chair and shut the door. She jumped. Sorry, he said. Leah, the papier-mâché masks aren't much of a threat, but you can throw them if need be. She moved to the side of the room where old books and props lined the wall. Leah tested their weight and opened an empty drawer. She was strong enough to overpower Cassie, so Leah. He curled his hand around hers and closed the drawer. It's okay. It's not. Leah spun, her nose bumping his chest. It's really not. I trust you, he said. Leah shuddered. Why? Because I've never known you to fail at something you put your mind to," he said, "because I know you'll be in here with me, and that makes me nervous, but everyone else was alone, because I do. If you're asking me to analyze emotions, I need like 5 more hours and a nap." Leah wrapped her arms around his waist and tucked her face into his shoulder. Devin's fingers tightened around hers. He kissed her cheek. "We just have to make sure she's caught," he whispered. "We're at school. It's the middle of the day. If she really goes for this, she'll be desperate, but we know that it'll be okay." Leah sniffed and nodded. She pulled back. "Let's do this." Leah picked up the knife. The knife was metal and rigid, and the give of the blade was barely noticeable when Leah poked it against her hand. "Ouch!" Devin took her hand and pulled the knife away before she could press it all the way down. "Not even pretend?" He set the fake knife on the shelf at the front of the room with other harmless props Leah had left there and took her hands. Leah kissed him quickly. "One last thing," she said. "Can I borrow your phone?" "Yeah." Leah scrolled through his apps, settled on the one, and tucked it against a shelf in the back room. "All right," Devin said. "Let's get me murdered." That is the end of this chapter. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.